Dorian Thompson-Robinson will be playing for UCLA Friday in the Sun Bowl. We await to see what punishment lies ahead for the Chargers Derwin James. And the Dodgers are allegedly undecided about Trevor Bauer. Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports team in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is December 28th, 2022. I am broadcasting from Ice Station Charlie in Anchorage, Alaska for just one more morning. Good Lord, I'm looking forward to not being in this stank-ass hotel. But while I have the chance, let's talk a little LA sports. If you like the content we put out, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yeah, comment. Why not? I'm in Alaska. It's either that or I keep eating reindeer meat. Straight up. So, before we go through the news and notes, quick look at the scoreboard. Yesterday, LeBron James, 28 points. He stops the Lakers' 4-game losing streak. The Lakers beat Orlando 129-110. Paul George and Ivica Zubac each scored 23 points. The Clippers knock out Toronto 124-113. And Ix Iafallo scores the game winner. Kings 4, Vegas Golden Knights 2. The Kings are just 3 points out of first place in the Pacific Division. Meanwhile today, the Lakers are in Miami at 4:30. LeBron James, he's not much of a load management guy, but when asked if he was going to be playing in tonight's game, he said, quote, "I'll know when I get up tomorrow." So there's that. Now the Bruins, they are in El Paso, of course. They're playing in the Sun Bowl on Friday morning. And thankfully, I guess they are there because they didn't book a flight on Southwest. But I digress. What I can tell you is the clues were ultimately backed up. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the quarterback, Zach Charbonnet, the running back, wide receiver Jake Bobo. There were rumors whether or not they were going to be participating in this bowl game. This would be their college finale. There was talk maybe they would need a little extra time to try to prepare for NFL combines, things such as that. But they were all photographed practicing all December long out in LA, and now they're being photographed practicing out in El Paso, Texas. I mean, put it this way. I don't think if you're going to be flying all the way out to El Paso, Texas, that you're looking to spend your holiday next to the headquarters of the drug cartels, right? I mean, just because you can get 2 for 1 for fentanyl pills, I don't think you're going to make a flight out to El Paso just for that. So what wound up happening is defensive coordinator Bill McGovern did confirm that Dorian Thompson-Robinson will be playing. He's told the LA Times that. As for Charbonnet and Jake Bobo, I think we can both confirm those as well. They just didn't say the words out loud. Speaking of Bill McGovern, he's the defensive coordinator. He did, in fact, confirm. It was assumed that health problems were what kept him out of the coaching booth for over a month for UCLA. He did, in fact, confirm that. He did not elaborate what the health issue, though, was. So we still don't know. What I can tell you is he also told the LA Times that he, quote, absolutely, unquote, expects to be back coaching next year. It would be the second of his 2-year contract. He's fulfilling his commitment. Guard John Gaines has accepted an invitation also to play in the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, which will be held January 28th at, who cares? I mean, those bowls are for the players to show off their wares. This doesn't mean you actually want to sit there and watch the game, right? He has played in all 43 Bruins games since 2019, so he was a workhorse for LA. A reporter for NFL Network said Chargers defensive back Derwin James will not be suspended for the hit on Ashton Doolin on Monday Night Football. Fined? Yeah, sure, why not? But suspended? Not so much. But I have to add a little something to this equation here. Not about whether or not he should be fined or suspended or whatever, but I recall on Monday Night Football, analyst Troy Aikman saying, quote, "I don't know if I've seen a hit quite like that." Really? Really, Troy? You retired because of concussions. I mean, I don't look forward to just random people getting knocked the F out, but if you go on YouTube, there are clips of Troy Aikman getting knocked the F out in Arizona, in Philadelphia. But I will say this, the time that you got knocked out in Arizona, Troy, to your credit, you threw a beautiful spiral. So I'll give you that, right? LeVar Arrington ended your career on a hit to the head. So what are we talking about here? I mean, I realize that everybody goes on TV now with a political agenda. I mean, sometimes I can't even tell the difference from ESPN to MSNBC. It doesn't even make a difference because everybody is like saying, oh, how they've got their cause and they got to blow it up. But don't sit there and tell me you've never seen a hit like that before. You've fallen asleep on the AstroTurf, my man. It's okay to say, look, just state it factually. You know, if you have an agenda, if you have a political cause against concussions, state it factually. Say when Ashton Doolin and Derwin James got blown up, you just say, you know what? That looks a little too familiar for me. We'll get the point. Don't say you've never seen it before. Meanwhile, Brandon Staley actually tried to blame the Colts for the hit. Now, understand, I want to be clear when I talk about Derwin James hitting Ashton Doolin. I'm not saying it was a cheap shot. It's not a cheap shot. Absolutely not. If you want to break that film down frame by frame, like the Zapruder film over in Dallas, you go right ahead. I'm not going to do it. I'm not saying anything about Derwin James deserving to be thrown out or whatever. It's a football hit. You can decide whether or not it was legal. But Brandon Staley actually tried to blame the Colts for the hit. Credit to Brandon Staley for getting the Chargers to the playoffs, right? Don't you sound a little bit too much like Ike Turner there? Blaming the victim. Eat the cake, Ashton May. Is that what you're trying to say, Brandon? I mean, come on, man. Take credit for reaching the playoffs. It's deserved. Back up your player to an extent. That's fine. That's part of the job. Don't tell me that guy had it coming. Please don't do that, will you? Oh, my Lord. Eat the cake, Ashton May. Anyway. There are rumors that the Cincinnati Bengals might sign retired Rams offensive lineman Andrew Whitworth to replace Lael Collins, who blasted out his knee a week or so ago. Whitworth told a podcaster he'd, quote, never say never, unquote. Oh, really? You pretty much told the Dallas Cowboys never meant never before the season started. I mean, the man told the Cowboys, he told Jerry Jones, yeah, I'll play. Just talk to my wife who hasn't seen me in 20 years first. If that's not never, is that not never? Right? Going to have to stick Jerry Jones up against the one thing he doesn't know how to deal with, a man's wife. Yeah, that would be a loose translation to never. We have talked at length, by the way, about how many Rams offensive linemen have been injured, how many wide receivers, how they're down to their fourth quarterback. Do you know that on defense, only 4 Rams have played in all 15 games this year? So the injury bug was just roster-wide for LA. One of the Rams players who has been an Iron Man, if you will, for this season has been linebacker Bobby Wagner, and he has rewarded that team for the playing time. 126 tackles this year. That's impressive. The front office is allegedly undecided over at Chavez Ravine. The Dodgers front office undecided on Trevor Bauer. Now, for the record, I don't buy that story at all. I think they have decided. I think they've known this for more than a year. And And if you want to know my thoughts about the Trevor Bauer situation, look on the Dodgers playlist. I had an 18-minute long thing where I broke everything down about why I think this, that, or the other about Trevor Bauer. I don't want to go through it all again because, frankly, the story is disgusting. It's just too gross, you know? O.J. Simpson captured a nation for a year about two gruesome freaking murders. Doesn't mean I want to talk about it every day. I'm not Lance Ito. I'm not Christopher Darden. Even I have more hair than Christopher Darden. But, again, let's go through just a little bit of this. The Dodgers have until January 6th to decide what they're going to do with Trevor Bauer. And I want to correct something that I did say before. By the way, the point with Trevor Bauer, the Dodgers are trying to look for as much intel as possible. The idea is that if they can find out enough information, maybe they can use that information as part of a sales pitch toward a trade. Where they sit there and go, hey, we have this kind of information about Trevor Bauer that you guys can use in your PR to try to sell your fan base that this is actually a net plus for your team. We'll pay 90% of his salary. Here's what we found out from the arbitrator. It can be done. Can you at least send us a prospect or two and we can get some cap relief? That would be my thought process. What I want to correct earlier, by the way, is that I said the Dodgers could theoretically send him to the minors to revive his career. That's not necessarily true. Trevor Bauer has the right to refuse any minor league assignment. Now, if I were him, I would still take the minor league assignment because you want to show off what you can do to prospective future employers. You want to show you can still pitch. Elsewhere on the Dodgers pitching staff, Shelby Miller has already acclimated himself with the LA pitching coaches. Now, this is not a surprise, and the coaches are taking what seems to be a familiar approach with both Shelby Miller and Noah Syndergaard. For example, you take Andrew Heaney last year. They taught Andrew Heaney a new pitch in the offseason, and all of a sudden Heaney revived his career. Same with Miller. Now, with the Dodgers coaches, what they always try to teach you is it's almost always a cut fastball. But in this case, it's sort of a cut fastball. It is a split-fingered changeup that they are teaching Shelby Miller. Now, as for Noah Syndergaard, he said he's also all in. Quote, the pitches I threw last year, I just kind of want to throw those away. I fully intend on being a different pitcher this next year. So in other words, if the Dodger coaching staff wants to teach him, I don't know, a screwball, he's all in. He don't care. Some Canadian scribe said that the Toronto Raptors not retaining Kawhi Leonard is a blessing in disguise for Toronto. No. The thought process being Kawhi got hurt at the end of his first year with the Clippers. You don't know if he would have gotten hurt with Toronto. Kawhi Leonard leaving the Raptors for Los Angeles is what led, I don't want to say to a destruction of the Toronto franchise, but it snapped shut their championship window. That's a blessing? When you don't know if he would have gotten hurt up in Toronto? Let's not get ahead of ourselves, pal. Eh? You don't benefit. I don't like a number of things about Kawhi Leonard. I don't like the load management. I don't like that at all. But you don't benefit by losing Kawhi Leonard. San Antonio hasn't been squat since they lost Kawhi Leonard, so let's not get it twisted. Quentin Byfield returned to the NHL last night as part of a series of Kings roster moves. Byfield, he was the number 2 overall pick in the 2020 draft. The Kings also recalled forward Rasmus Kupari and defenseman Jordan Spence. The latter was sent down 3 days ago. How would you like to be spending your Christmas in the Inland Empire? For which I would tell him, dude, I'm in Anchorage. I totally understand your misery. I really do. I'm sorry you had to put up with that. As a response, by the way, Byfield doesn't have a goal yet this year. And Arthur Kaliev was sent down to make room for these 3 guys. Kaliev was placed on injured reserve as part of the moves. Kaliev has been productive. He has 9 goals this year. He's down there with a, quote, lower body injury, which for all we know means a steel blade to the testicles. No idea. Finally, a scribe for the Belcher Report has ranked the Pac-12 basketball teams he has placed UCLA atop the heap. Now, I have no idea how much credence to give some random scribe from the Belcher Report, but he writes that it's likely Mick Cronin's best defensive squad. The only problem that the Bruins have, they don't get to the free throw line enough. They're high for the entire year in one game, 22. Arizona averages 25 free throws a game. USC, meanwhile, he ranked them 5th in the conference. He said the Trojans do not rebound enough. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about the Bruins for the going out to El Paso. Tell me what you think about Derwin James or Trevor Bauer or any number of topics. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. I'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a key on Corte El Queso production. Take care.